Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome if it's one of your first visits or your first visit. Today I'm going to make some spaghetti sauce from scratch in my crock pot. I haven't actually made spaghetti sauce from scratch in many years. Usually I buy the Classico brand, or sometimes in past I bought the Ragu brand, although we don't seem to be able, I don't think Ragu even makes it anymore. If they do, we don't get it here in Canada anymore. So it's usually Classico that we buy if we buy anything store-bought. But I know that way back many years ago, back in my first marriage, I had been given a recipe from a friend of mine, a fellow military wife, and I used to make my own spaghetti sauce from scratch. So I decided today to dig that recipe out. It's been many years since I last made it, and give it a go. So I'm going to turn you around, I'm going to show you the ingredients, and then I'm going to get started browning my meat, and then I'll just turn you around and we'll get started. Okay, so you need ground beef, either an onion chopped up or onion powder to taste, which usually I use onion powder, garlic powder to taste, 2 cans of crushed tomatoes, 2 cans of tomato sauce, although in my case I have smaller cans of tomato sauce, so I actually have 4 smaller cans, 2 cans of tomato paste. I'm omitting the can of tomato soup because I don't think I was fond of it with that, if I remember correctly, way back when, and plus I don't know if I have tomato soup in the house, so I'm omitting that. And I'm also omitting the can of mushrooms because my daughter does not like mushrooms, and even if I dice them up tiny, she'll still find them in there. So just going to leave that out. Salt and pepper to taste, chili powder, sage, savory, oregano, basil, and paprika. And I'm also adding some ground sausage. So this is my ground beef. This is how I freeze them. I get usually a club pack where you get 2 or 3 1-pound or so portions, and then we flatten them out, push all the air out of the Ziploc bag, and freeze them like that, rather than freeze a whole tray in one, because I don't usually use a whole tray in one day of cooking. So I freeze them. I don't have a kitchen scale, so I don't weigh them to see if they're 1 pound or not, but I usually try and get about 3 or so portions out of a club pack tray, and that's what I do. So then I pull them out one package at a time. So I'm going to make 1 package of this, and then I got a package of mild Italian sausage meat. I forgot to pull the onion powder out of the cupboard. I'll have to do that, but I do have my tomato paste. I brought out 4 cans of tomato sauce because they are smaller. These are the 2 crushed tomatoes. That's the size that it called for. And because I don't have the large cans of tomato sauce, they're about half the size of the crushed tomatoes. So I've got 4 cans of those, along with my 2 cans of tomato paste. I've got my oregano, my savory, my sage, basil, garlic powder, chili powder, and also some roasted garlic and red peppers. I have to get my onion powder out yet, and I also need to get my salt and pepper out. So that is basically what's going in there. So let me go and fry up my meat. I don't think I'm going to bother showing you that part of the process, because that's probably not all that exciting, and it'll take a good 10 minutes, which will just be like 10 minutes or more of video of you just watching me fry up meat and probably rambling on about who knows what all. So rather than subject you to that, I'm going to just go and brown the meat, drain it, and then once I have my crock pot set up and I get the meat in the crock pot, then I will bring you back and show you me adding the spices. And then of course later on, once it's all said and done, I'll show you how it turns out. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, on the right here we have our lean ground beef. It's almost done, almost ready to be strained. And over here we have our mild Italian sausage. Pretty much done as well. That looks like it's done. I think the ground beef might need another minute or 2, but not long at all. There's not too much fat to drain off the sausage. It's pretty good, but the ground beef definitely, even though it's lean, you can definitely see there's still some fat to be drained. So that'll be my next step. And then I can start putting stuff in the crock pot and get it going. Okay, I am back. I have the ground beef and the sausage in the crock pot already. I'm just going to turn it on to low so it'll start warming up. And I'm going to put in, I did not have a chopped onion. Again, if you've seen any of my other cooking videos, you know that I'm not a fan of having chunks of onion in any of my dishes. Even if I've chopped them finely, I'm just not a fan of finding little chunks. I don't know if that's a throwback to my childhood or what. So I just use onion powder more often than not. I'm not measuring that because I'm not really sure. Not strictly to taste. So I'm going to get the onion powder in there. I thought I had the ground beef and the sausage ground up pretty small pieces, but I do see some that could have maybe been smaller, but that's okay, it's a start. I'll start with that. Garlic powder to taste. I'm just going to sprinkle again some in there, and I'll just kind of end up going by smell, probably. The one thing I did not mention about adding is I've been told that if this tastes too tomatoey, to neutralize some of the acid in the tomatoes by adding a bit of sugar. I haven't tried that before. I don't know how much to put in, but I may do that. We'll see. Let me get my can opener here, open the tomato sauce. You can smell the onion powder and the garlic powder already. So once I get some of the other spices in there, you'll definitely smell all the other spices too. I'm deliberately zooming in. I know you're not over top of my crock pot, so you can't see everything going in, but I'm deliberately kind of sort of zooming in on this area of my kitchen because I'm not showing you the rest of my kitchen because it is a mess. I worked 5 shifts at the store last week and 3 at the school, including a shift at the store yesterday. Had a membership class at my church yesterday morning, and then had a shift at the store till 8 o'clock last night, and had church this morning, and it is already 3:10 right now, and I have to be back at the church for 6 o'clock tonight for a business meeting to go over the 2022 budget. So my time has been very scarce. I gotta get it together though. I need to get started on my Christmas baking because next Saturday, December 4th, we have 10 people coming over. I'm not planning on doing a supper, just coffee, Christmas punch, Christmas baking, that kind of thing. But I need to get it together because right now I can't exactly have people over for Christmas baking if I haven't baked anything. And I have not started yet. So I gotta get my act together here. I do work both the school and the store tomorrow. However, Tuesday is a day off from both jobs and I'm going to keep it that way. Got some tomato sauce in my face. I'm going to keep Tuesday completely free. And hopefully it'll be a solid day of baking because I need to get things done. I mean, I get all of my baking done, but I want to get some sugar or some shortbread cookies made for sure. Probably some ginger snaps, turtle tarts. I have Friday off as well, but that's a day of doctor appointments. And then after the doctor's appointments, we'll be home. And I'll do some baking. I'm planning on making an eggnog cheesecake that evening for Saturday, and I would also like either Friday evening or else on Saturday during the day to make my taco dip. So the cheesecake I'm not going to make till Friday. I'm not going to make it too far in advance. But during this week I want to make whipped shortbread cookies, ginger snaps, possibly 1 or 2 other kinds of cookies, and maybe some Rice Krispie squares or some brownies. Maybe I'll make my banana I can't speak. Maybe I'll finally make my banana eggnog loaves that I've been talking about in all my videos that I haven't gotten around to making yet. Because I think that makes 2 loaves. So then I can serve some on Saturday and put the rest in the freezer to use later in the month for Christmas baking, for when I do my fire hall delivery, or just for eating for us as a family. So I have to I have a list of what all I want to make this month for Christmas baking, but I need to prioritize and figure out what all I need to make this week. Because if I make a cheesecake on Friday, that's a big dessert in itself. And then if I also make a 9x13 pan or so of taco dip, that's also a pretty significant dish right there. And I do have a friend coming that is bringing crackers for a cracker and cheese treat. So really I probably don't need to have umpteen dozen other desserts and treats, but if you know me, there will be umpteen dozen other kinds of treats because that's what I do. I like to bake and I love Christmas and I love entertaining, and especially with COVID we didn't get to entertain last year, so this is my time to shine and make up for lost time, so to speak. So I'm hoping to make, well, and whatever doesn't get eaten on Saturday will go into the freezer to be used over the course of the month, whether we have other company or whether we get invited anywhere ourselves, or my fire hall deliveries Christmas Eve. I am also working on a care package for a young man from church who is in Bible college. I know I think I might have mentioned this in my videos already. He's living at home, so technically he doesn't really need a student care package because he has all the comforts of home. But still, nonetheless, he's a student, and it's nice to still have a student care package because it's nice to know people still think of you. Just because he's not living in another province or another city away from his parents doesn't mean it's, it might still be nice to know that somebody else from church, besides his family, is saying, I'm praying for you, and I care. So that's the idea. So whatever I make for next Saturday, if I have some leftovers, which I more than likely will, I'll probably finish up his care package and take it to church on Sunday. Finally, it's been in the makings for a while. Let's see if I even have room in this pot for all 4 cans of tomato sauce. I may not. I'll do 3, and then we'll see where we sit. So I have other things already in his care package. I have a can of Pringles and a couple of chocolate bars, stuff like that. And a Halloween treat size bag of Cheez-Its, or no, not Cheez-Its, cheese puffs like Cheesies. And a gift card for a coffee shop. But I want to get some home baking in there too. So that, of course. And then, of course, I'll probably also give him a jar of jam, which I know he lives at home, but he can share that with his family if he so chooses. Or he doesn't have to share if he doesn't want to. It's his care package. So I should probably be talking about what I'm doing with the spaghetti sauce, but I am rambling. And this is why I didn't film myself making the sausage or the ground beef, because then you would have had 10 more minutes of me rambling. And I don't know that we really need that. Okay. I'm going to hold off on the other tomato sauce for now. I'm going to do the tomato paste though. I guess the tomato paste is kind of what helps thicken it up a little bit, I guess. And then that'll be the end of the tomato stuff. Ooh, that lid wants to flop right out of there. And I have a recycling bin in the kitchen. I have to rinse all these cans out to put them in there. I mean, I'm not putting them in there dirty, but I'm not rinsing these cans out until after I get finished with all of them. Then I will take care of that. And I really should clean the rest of my kitchen, but I've fallen behind on laundry. I finally got my address labels printed last night for our Christmas cards, not our return address labels, but the ones for the recipients. And I still have to go on the Costco website and order our photo Christmas cards and get those sent to us. They have closed the Costco photo centers here, so you can't pick up in store like you used to be able to. And actually, our Costco membership has lapsed, so I'm hoping I can still actually get photo cards from them without having to pay to renew the membership. We may renew our membership at some point, but right now that's not necessarily really in the budget, so I'm hoping to just order the cards and be done with it and not have to worry about the membership at this time. I find that they're a fairly inexpensive place to do the photo cards, and they've always done a nice job. But then I need to get them ordered, because if you can't pick up in store, since there is no Costco photo center anymore, I have to wait for Canada Post to deliver the order. And it's already November, 28th. So if I order them today or tomorrow, hopefully I'll have them by, ideally I'd like to have them before like December 5th. Like, we're having company on the 4th, but then maybe I could spend Sunday the 5th stuffing Christmas card envelopes. So I do have some that are going to the US, and I have 2 that are actually going overseas, but I don't know if those probably won't get to their destinations in time. I'm sure the cutoff for mailing overseas cards on time for Christmas is probably come and gone, but I will try. And that means I should probably consider composing a Christmas letter as well. Our printer is gimped. Our printer is very old. It doesn't print anything other than blue colored ink anymore. So I changed the color of my ink for the Christmas address labels last night to blue, and that's how I was able to print those, but I'm not printing 100 copies of a Christmas letter on there, and I'm certainly not printing them in blue. So I need to sit down, go through the family pictures we took, decide, get all of us to agree on one where we all feel we look acceptable or okay, because I might think it might be a good picture, but my daughter might say, no, that's not a good picture, and get those ordered. And then what I may do is do the Christmas letter and email it to the store that I sometimes send small print jobs to. You can go to Staples and get them printed, but I prefer to go to a little local store. It's called Pen and Paper, and it's actually owned by a family that goes to our church. So that's probably what I'll do, is I'll probably send it there. And then it's close to Superstore, and it's kind of close to the school I work at. So if I get that letter composed and get it sent off and ask them to print it, I can probably pick it up one day after working at the lunch program. So it'll be kind of on my way home. So that's my thinking. And yes, I'm talking and thinking about Christmas baking when I'm actually doing spaghetti sauce right now. That's fine. Okay, so I'm adding a little bit more onion powder, because with all that tomato in there, I'm sure that little bit of onion powder I already put in is probably lost in the shuffle already. So we're going to do that. And again, the onion powder, I'm not measuring, nor the garlic powder. I'm just eyeballing that because normally the onion powder would not be onion powder. It would normally be an actual onion chopped up. So I'm going to put some more garlic in there. Can never have too much garlic flavor, I don't think. And the chili powder, I don't even know. It says a 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder. I'm not sure. I'm going to put some of this roasted red pepper, roasted garlic and red pepper spice in there. And again, I'm just going to eyeball it because there already is garlic in there. But I like this spice. We use this on a lot of stuff. This might be a nice flavor to have. There's already some garlic powder in here. And there's like, this is roasted garlic and red pepper. So it's going to be a little more garlic. But just like I said, you can't really have too much garlic. So I'll just, as this cooks and I can smell it and see how it's going, I'll probably add more spices as we go. Okay, so now, skipping the tomato soup, skipping the mushrooms. It says a 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder. I'm not sure. I'm wondering if I should do half. And at that, it's going to be more of like a heaping half teaspoon. Want this to be flavorful. A teaspoon of sage. Did I get my sage? Yes, there's my sage. That beeping sound, we do not have a truck backing up in our house. That is my African Grey Ruby, and that's actually through a closed door that you can hear her. She's that loud. I think she wants attention. She can hear my voice, and I'm not paying attention to her, so she's not happy. A 1/2 teaspoon of savory. I still have to do salt and pepper to taste. If I can get my savory open. A teaspoon of oregano. That doesn't fit in there very well, so short of taking the lid off, I'll just do 2 1/2 teaspoons. Oh, that one got away on me a little bit. That's okay, it's just on this side of the dish. Okay, and a teaspoon of basil. I'm noticing it's calling for a paprika, and somehow or other I didn't pull that out. Okay, all right, so we're gonna do the basil. Pretty sure I've got paprika on here. My thing is half empty now because I've taken half my spices off. Teaspoon of paprika. I'm just going to take this right off because it's empty. Well, not empty, but it's really low down in there. And then I need to get my salt and pepper. And I'm not sure yet about the sugar. I'll have to kind of see where it's at, where things taste, how things are. Smells good. I think it does. I'm standing here. I think it smells okay. I just remember the last time I made this many years ago, I felt like it was too acidic, like way too tomatoey. It does call for 2 of these large cans of crushed tomatoes, which I used, and then 2 large cans of tomato sauce, and I don't have the large cans, so I think the smaller cans of tomato sauce are about half the size. So that's why I thought, oh, I'll use 4, but so far I've just used 3 of the tomato sauce. I'm wondering if the can of tomato soup is what tipped the scales last time, because I just didn't, I don't know, I'm not a big tomato soup fan on my own, on its own. In baking, maybe it's okay, but I suspect it might be a bit different than the canned tomatoes. But running into stuff, because there's stuff on my floor I need to clean up. Salt and pepper to taste. Oh, that's going to be a lot of salt. Let's not do that. Mind you, it's a big pot, but still. Okay. That's good enough for now. Just eyeball it for now. I'm not really usually one to eyeball spices. Certainly when I'm baking, I do things exactly by the book. But cooking somehow or other seems a little different. A little more pepper in there. And stir it again. This is a pretty good sized batch. Even if we make spaghetti noodles tonight and have this, there's no way we're going to use all this. So probably, I remember from making this before that this freezes very well. So chances are probably at least half this batch is probably going to wind up in the freezer. And that's okay, because then we have something that just has to be pulled out and thawed out for a future meal. It takes 10 minutes to cook spaghetti noodles. It takes very little effort to do that. So let me grab a spoon. And have a quick taste and see what it's like. Okay, yeah, it is a little acidic. I'll put a bit of sugar in there, but it's not nearly as tomatoey or acidic as I remember it. I don't know if it's the lack of tomato soup or what, but for whatever reason, it seems pretty good. Just going to do about a half a tablespoon. Hopefully that'll nullify a little bit of the acid in there. I have to clean my kitchen after this. What a mess. And I haven't even done any baking and I've already made a mess in here. That's why, like I say, I'm not showing you the rest of my kitchen. I am not proud right now. I got laundry to fold, laundry to wash, kitchen to clean, a bunch of Christmas baking to do before next Saturday. Maybe after the business meeting tonight, I'll get something done. Maybe if I make shortbread cookies, I can take some butter out to put at room temperature now ahead of time. I don't know. We'll see. Just making sure I've got everything here. I think I am going to leave the 4th can of tomato sauce out. I don't think we need that. I am going to put a little bit more onion in there. A little more garlic. And a little more chili. This might be easier. And just a hint more of the roasted red pepper and garlic. Oh, that is more than a hint. Okay, that is a lot. Accidents happen when you're cooking sometimes, folks. Okay, I'm going to scoop that out. I should have used the sprinkle side, not the scoop side. That is way too much. I'm not putting that back in the canister because it's wet. Alrighty, take a lesson from me. Don't use the side with the spoon. Well, that much can stay in there probably. It's already kind of, that's not too bad. Because it is a big batch, so it will get mixed in. Cooking accidents with Janice. Oh, yeah. That was way too much. I mean, I do love the roasted garlic and red pepper spice, but not that much. Got a little bit of it back out, about half of what I dumped in there by mistake. All it'll do is it'll add extra flavor. I took about half of that back out, and it'll be fine. I mean, it's still a good bit that fell in there, but you know what? This crock pot is pretty big. I'm not even sure how many liters or quarts or whatever this crock pot is. So really, it will distribute itself. I did say you can't have too much garlic, right? And it's roasted garlic and red peppers, so there you go. I guess we're about to find out. Okay, so it's all in. And I just have to put the lid on, and it's on low. Maybe I'll bump it up to high for right now just to get the heat going, because, you know, it's almost 3:30. I'm just getting it going now. There we go. So, all right. So that is it for now. Or actually, maybe what I'll do before I put the lid on, I will show you. Let me take you off the tripod here, and I'll show you how everything is looking. Be right back. Okay, so that is where things sit right now. Looks pretty good. And smells good, I think, too. I'm trying to scrape some of this down off the sides of the crock pot, but doesn't matter, I guess. Doesn't have to be picture perfect or pretty. As long as it tastes good and smells good, that is the main thing, right? Okay, let's get that in there. I think it smells good so far. I'm sure it'll taste fine, even if I did go a little overboard on that last spice. But, like, oh well. Who hasn't had a kitchen episode at some point or other, right? You're cooking with me, but you're also learning with me. And I'm learning along with you too. Okay, so it's 3:30, right on the nose. I'm going to let this cook for a little while, and I need to maybe take a little breather and have something cold to drink, maybe a Diet Pepsi or something, and then I'm going to have no choice but to clean this kitchen because it's a mess. I will check back with you when this is done, or at least close to it, and show you how it looks and tell you how it turned out. Okay, it is 8:15 in the evening. I was at the church for a business meeting from 6 o'clock until just now. I just got in the door. As you know, I put this on to cook at around 3 this afternoon. I had it on high for a little while, but then for the first hour or so, in the last 4 hours, it's been on low. So this is what it looks like. Still bubbling away. Looks pretty good, I think. Just have to dish up a plate and see. It smells really good. I wish I could translate that to a video for you so you could actually smell it. But it certainly looks good. Just have to dish up a plate here and cool the rest off. Some of it will probably be going in the freezer because this is a big pot. As you can see, there's no way we need this much for 3 people. Maybe for tonight's supper, possibly tomorrow's, and then beyond that, well, probably the rest will just go in the freezer for the time being. But this is how it looks. I'll show you once it's all plated up what it looks like, and maybe get back to you and tell you what the family thought. See you guys shortly. All right, so this is going to be what it looks like plated. Nothing extraordinary, just a basic. I mean, I think it's pretty good. I tried my plate already. I think it's pretty decent, but smells good. Lots of spices in there. And that is that. There you go. And as you can see in the background, I'm starting my Christmas baking finally tonight. The rest of my kitchen's a mess. But I started making my whipped shortbread cookies tonight, my first 2 batches. Got 1 pan in the oven still, and probably another pan to go. It's almost, it is 10 o'clock at night already. So I gotta get this, some of this put in the fridge, and probably some of it will be put into a container to freeze. And yeah, gotta finish up with my cookies. And I think the dishwasher has dirty stuff in it, so I'm gonna have to add some more dishes to the dishwasher. Oh, I don't know how much I'm gonna get done before bed. I may just bail out and crash. But I do have a load of laundry to fold downstairs because my daughter's in my work uniforms. Our shirts are in a load in the washer right now, and they're going to need to be dried before our shifts tomorrow afternoon. I'm thinking, I was going to say shift or shifts. I can't remember, so I'm not sure if we both work tomorrow or not. I know I do. But at any rate, that is how the spaghetti sauce turned out. I think it turned out well. Tastes good, smells good. Might need a little bit of tweaking, but very tomatoey, but it's not real acidic. I think that tablespoon or whatever it was, or so, half tablespoon or tablespoon of sugar I added probably helped. So I think it's quite good, and there's plenty left over that I can freeze some for next time, and probably still have some left over in a container for tomorrow's supper, and then freeze the rest. So I think it turned out pretty well. Okay, so that will be it for this video. Don't mind the barking dog in the next room. We actually don't have a dog. That is our African Grey Parrot, Ruby. When her food dish is empty or she is wanting attention, she barks like a dog. She's rather loud. She's in a completely different room, and you can still hear her going at the top of her lungs. Usually at this time of night, all the birds are quiet and they've gone to bed, but the lights are still on in the house, so they're still partying it up. Anyway, that was my attempt at making homemade spaghetti sauce in the crock pot today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do give the video a thumbs up, and of course, leave a comment down below. And subscribe if you are new, and we'll see you next time. Have a great week ahead, everybody. I hope everybody had a good weekend. I hope you guys all have a good week, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a good week, everyone.